Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the last weekly reads of 2020. Today is a very special week of weekly reads. The thing is that when I started weekly reads, I did not know how much traction would it have. When I started weekly reads, I started first thing I wanted to do something during the weekdays. So I was like thinking about what can I say, what can I discuss, and I was like, okay, maybe I can discuss my current reads. And I said, okay, cool, that's like nice. And I said I want to do it like in the middle of the week on a Wednesday, and that was also cool. But then later on, like when I had thought this idea out, I realized that there are quite a few people who do Friday reads and Sunday reads, and that was very interesting for me. So I didn't want to call it Wednesday reads, and I realized that my major idea was just talking about all the books that I'm reading in that particular week. But what eventually happened after that, like the aftermath of that an idea was, first thing I had to optimize it in a good manner, because with respect to the schedule that I have, that is, I work from Monday to Friday. Putting out a video on a work day is tough because you need to film it, you need to edit it, and then you need to upload it. So that takes a bit of time. So I wanted to like optimize it as much as possible. Hence, I used to keep my weekly reads, the length of the weekly reads as well, generally stays like 6 minutes, 7 minutes long, and then I'm done with it. But my Sunday videos are much longer. So like that's a bit of insight into weekly reads and how it started. And also like one more insight would be that I just wanted to like put minimum effort into it. So like I said, optimize it with respect to my schedule. And that's why what I used to do is I used to not do anything. I used to just like put my tripod on a table, sit on a chair in front of a bookshelf, and that too like my closed bookshelf, not with the book showing, and just film anything, everything like I wanted to speak about, like the current books. So that being said, that kind of optimization really helped me, because then the number of hours that I spend in a week on video especially could be optimized. Like if this was on a Saturday or a Sunday, maybe I would have had the time, but since it's on a weekday, I have to like pick out like an hour or 90 minutes from my schedule in order to film and edit it. So that's how that worked out, but I'm so glad it paid off, because first thing, I could tell you what books am I reading currently, and that was my main aim. I was very skeptical at the start whether this would work or not, but it finally worked. The second thing being, it also helped me a lot, because before like filming the weekly reads, I have to see which books am I reading currently, right? Because I do read like 4 books at a time, and there are days when I'm running ahead with one book and the other books are like behind. There are books that I'm reading passively as well. So what weekly reads really helped me do is have that kind of reflection on my own reading life, subconsciously, because then I realized what were my passive reads, and I realized, okay, you know what, this has been a passive read since such a long time, so I need to read it ASAP. And that was a very nice reflection, and I can tell you how it helped, right? Like the most recent case of how this helped was when I was reading Bring Up the Bodies. I realized that I've been putting off reading Bring Up the Bodies since a very long time, and I decided I have to finish this one before the year ends. And all that happened because of weekly reads, and because of that whole way I sit in front of the camera, let you guys know what am I reading currently, and I realized, okay, these are the books I'm reading. So that helped me a lot as well. And that being said, it's been a great year with respect to weekly reads. I'll be talking about my year in general in a future video, but with respect to weekly reads, this has been a great year. I never thought that this would get so much traction. I was not even expecting much traction. For me, these are just like reading updates that I'm telling you guys about, but I'm glad that this kind of became successful, and that's why we are here, week 53 of 2020, talking about weekly reads. Yay! Okay, cool. Okay, so let's start with the books that I actually completed in the past week. Um, Actually, you know what? let's scratch that. Let's not do that, okay? Because the point is, I've already spoken about all the books that I've completed so far, and if you guys have been watching my videos, including all the videos that I put up, my favorite non-fictional reads, favorite fictional reads, and all the books I finished in 2020, so far, like I think that was posted on 26th December. uh, you will get to know what did I read so far. So go check those out. But I want to talk about my current reads. Okay, so the books I'm reading currently are those that I wanted to finish in December, but I don't think I will be able to, because we just have what, 2 days left. Yeah, we do only have 2 days left. And yeah, let's get on with all the books that I'm reading currently, and I'll give you like an in-depth thing on what's going on, because this is a very special edition of Weekly Reads. So number one, this is Transcendent Kingdom by Jasi. I finally made progress with this book, and let me tell you, this book is a drag. Okay, in my opinion, don't read it as a sequel to Homegoing. This is my personal opinion, because I loved Homegoing, and this book cannot be even compared with Homegoing. But this can be read as a standalone as well, because you do not need to know what has happened in Homegoing. Like, this has been my realization, although I've been telling you guys that this is a sequel to Homegoing. Um, the point is just that this kind of reflects the journey of an African immigrant in the US. Okay, it talks about a lot of aspects like the church. It also talks about a lot of aspects like drug abuse and stuff like that. So this is kind of a continuation to Homegoing, but you do not need to read Homegoing to understand this book. Now, that being said, the reason why this book might be a drag is because maybe I'm comparing this book to Homegoing in my head, but actually, this book in itself is a drag. Like, the first 100 pages are just like talking about a lot of things, a lot of stuff. I don't have a particular word for it. Like, I don't want to even call it a sequel. I don't even want, like, it is an extension for sure, but it is an extension of just one character. So it's set in the same universe as Homegoing, but it's just like an extension and the story of one character, and who is, of course, whose parents like moved from Ghana to the United States. So it's very interesting to read about their journey, but then it's not creating as much impact as I expected, like Homegoing did. So I'm in this constant struggle where I'm comparing Transcendent Kingdom and Homegoing, but then again, you can pick this up as a standalone if you want, and read this as a standalone and not read the other book, and that's okay so far. Okay, so basically the book has like 260 pages or so, and I am like on the 156 page now, and I want to finish this before the year ends. So that's the plan. Now, the next book that I'm reading, so this is something that I started only recently this week. It's this book by Ravish Kumar. It's on democracy, free voice, and it's a non-fiction book about the political situation in India and the media in India, and how there's a lot of censorship that happens, and also there's a lot of fake news and paid media in the country. He also attempts to give us like parallels in history and politics. For example, he talks about the Holocaust. He also talks about a lot of instances where politicians, well-known politicians, have made exaggerated statements about an incident, and they just they just leave it there, and then it gets to the media, and the media channels hold these debates at 9 p.m. You know who holds these debates, and it just talks about the whole media circus, like the political and like situational journalism these days, where journalists who speak out against the government are censored or killed. Or it talks about like journalists who are literally like, I don't know, campaigners on behalf of the present government. So that's what this book is about. It's a nice book so far, and it talks. It's a like I let me tell you, like, this is a book with bias. So if you're looking for something that's very much like a more left-leaning agenda, or a left-leaning agenda is a bad word, like a left-leaning perspective. This is like the book you should read as an Indian. But in my opinion, it's good to read both right-wing books as well as left-wing books in order to form your own opinion. So I do agree with a lot of things said in the book, and he says that in the most normal way possible. Maybe that's because of my political view and leaning, but I always prefer also reading the right wing side of it so that I can understand their perspective as well. So this is a good book if you want to read more about our current situation in India. Now, that being said, let's get to the other books that I'm reading. So the first one, this is the third one that I'm reading, and actually it's a book for review, and I'm not going to be talking much about it on my weekly reads. It's Glory Roslin and the Universe, and this book is basically middle grade. It's fantasy, and I like it so far. It's nice, and that's all I can tell you about the book because it's a book been given for review. And yeah, that's that. And that being said, let's get on to the other two books that I'm reading currently. So the first book is actually this one. This is Chin Patrol on the Purple Line by Deepa Annapara. Right, Deepa Annapara. And this book is kind of set in Delhi. That's what I get the vibes from it. And I've kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of like done with only 14 pages of this. I was trying to listen to the audiobook and listening to the audiobook and reading the book, this one at the same time, but that didn't work out, so I had to return the audiobook on my Audible, and I'm currently just reading this. But I know that I'm not going to finish this year at all. This will be taken forward to January, and anyway, I'm only 14 pages in here, so that's that. And finally, let me just tell you about the non-fiction book that I'm reading currently. And this as well, like I am done with 46 pages only, and this book has about 327 pages. So this is The Lost Homestead by Marina Wheeler, My Mother, Partition and Punjab. And this basically talks about Marina Wheeler's parents, her mother specifically, who was born in present day Pakistan, and how after partition they had to move to India, and finally her mother meets Charles, who's Marina Wheeler's father, and they get married and they move to the UK. So this is what this whole book is about. I have a lot of controversial opinions regarding this book so far. It does kind of tend to give a very superficial anecdote of Indian Pakistani history in general, like even the partition history, I think is kind of flaky. But the point is that I like reading about Marina Wheeler's grandfather, who was a very important person in one sec. Let me see. Where was he from? I forgot the name of the place. This place is in current day Pakistan. Yes, in Sargodha. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. Oh my god, this is embarrassing. But yeah, so he's from this place, Sargodha in Pakistan. And yeah, that's where the whole kind of childhood, that's where Marina Wheeler's mom, Deep, spent her childhood. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, these are the reads that I'm wrapping up with in this particular year, and it's nice so far. It's nice. Of course, I want to finish the Yad Gyasi book. Of course, I want to finish the book with the Ravish Kumar book as well, but the others I will not be able to finish it, although my plan was to finish it this year. But it's okay, like, as I approach the new year, I just realized that it's just the new year. I mean, there's nothing different about it. It's just a man-made phenomena. It's just like a man-made phenomenon where the sun, the point is, the sun sets in the west and the sun will rise in the east, and it's just going to be like day when the sun rises and night when the sun sets. It's humans who have a concept of time and stuff like that. So yeah, that's very interesting. And yeah, that's it for my weekly reads. And other than that, I don't have much. I'm very excited for tomorrow's video though, because it's going to be like a very interesting anecdote. Really, I'm looking forward to it. Okay, fine, cool, bye.